So on my brother's most recent trip to visit me in Barcelona, I decided to get up to Andorra for a couple days to show him why I always said one day trip wasn't worth it, taking you along as well to see all that we can explore and find out what more you can do here in Andorra. This is Andorra. A tiny country of about 80,000 people, landlocked between France and Spain. Andorra doesn't have its own airport, and it's only about a 3-hour drive from Barcelona. While it still uses the euro, it lies outside of the EU. It's a tax haven that offers cheaper shopping than in Barcelona, but the real beauty of Andorra is the nature all around. Unfortunately, most people I know only make a day trip to Andorra from Barcelona, taking advantage of how close it is to check off another country from their list and shop while they're here. Andorra's also got 20 museums spread throughout the country. That's the most museums per square meter outside of the Vatican. And while you're exploring the old city center, you've got a lot of art all around. The most famous has to be the sculpture right behind me, made by Dali. One of the most interesting things that I've always thought about Andorra is who runs it. It's one of the smallest countries in the world, and it's technically a principality. And the two princes of Andorra are the president of France and the bishop of Urgell, a small town just over the border in Spain. However, they do have a prime minister that runs the day-to-day operations. If you do come up just for the day, you're probably going to be in the capital, Andorra la Vella, which is the highest capital in all of Europe. The old city center is not so much going on. All of the shopping down over here, you do have some things that you can see, but you're probably done with that in just a couple hours. One of the questions I get a lot, and the thing that I think people most hear about Andorra, is all the offers they have on shopping. And the question is it worth it to get over to Andorra just to take advantage of the deals? You're gonna find cheaper prices on a lot of things. In Spain, it's 21% tax on most of those items that you're gonna be buying. And over here in Andorra, it's 4.5%. So that's really the difference that you're gonna see. I've personally, in the times that I've been up here, never noticed a big difference when you're buying clothes or anything like that, but you do notice bigger differences on tobacco, liquor, and they have a lot of options over here as well. So I don't know if I would 100% recommend you coming over just to make sure you're going shopping, unless you're gonna have some big, huge bulk buy, but then you gotta think about getting that back home. My brother's always asked about day trips over to Andorra whenever he's come over to visit, and I've always told him it's not worth it. On a day trip from Barcelona, it's gonna take you about 3 hours to get here by bus. You'll have a few hours to get into the middle of the city, and then you've got a 3-hour bus ride back. That's 6 hours of your day inside of a bus. There is another option from Barcelona, which is called 3 countries in 1 day, where they add a trip over to France as well. While that sounds really exciting for people who wanna tick off all of those countries on their list, adding another stop in there gives you even less time in Andorra. So you're actually really seeing it. By the way, I've never done that 3 countries in 1 day trip. If you're interested in finding out if that's worth it, leave a comment below and I'll do a video about it. Now don't get me wrong, when you only have that little amount of time, you're in the main city center of Andorra la Vella and you don't get to see the entire country. And with a country this small, you can really take advantage and get around to see everything. One place you can come over to if you've got some more time is the Tourist Information Office right here, which will give you a lot of different ideas of what you can do while you're here in Andorra. I highly recommend that you get outside of the capital city and get over to Canillo, where you can go up to a bridge, get some great views all over the country, and also to a lookout point, Roc de Quer. A combined ticket's gonna cost you $14.50, and they've got buses that leave from Canillo to get you a little bit closer. Don't know if you can see it from here, but we're going all the way up there. So the first stop on the bus is over to the bridge. They give us some time all around here, and then they've got a couple more buses just circulating that'll take you up higher to the viewpoint. All in all, they say it's about 2.5 hours if you want to take in all the views and then get back down over there. So we're looking to have a good time. So the bridge in total is about 600 meters long, and it's just extended over this valley. It wobbles a little bit, and if you're afraid of heights, this is definitely not something you should be doing. But you're right inside, like I said, this valley. We've got awesome views around. You can see kind of all these ideas for the ski slopes and things. It's really cool. There's actually a lot more people than I thought would be with us over here. So all in all, just over 600 meters, about 10 minutes walking or so. And it said maximum 600 people are allowed to be on there at once. We kind of thought it was gonna lead us up a little bit closer to the lookout point where we're going next, but it looks like we just wait for everybody to kind of get over here, and we gotta walk all the way back. So you gotta do it twice. Nerve-wracking as it might be, I'm definitely putting this on the list of things that you need to do in Andorra. And check this out. While I've been walking over here, they've been building a new tower in the side of the mountain. You've got a helicopter bringing over each of those pieces as they screw it in. And from up at the lookout point, Roc de Quer, you can see out to basically everything, and you're really just hanging out right over that valley. It's got a little bit of a Machu Picchu vibe. What do you think? From down at the bottom, waiting to take the bus up, it looked a lot higher than it actually does while we're up here. But you've got views over the town of Canillo and into that valley as well. When we were looking online for things to do, one thing that Matthew found was this waterfall that he really wanted to come over to, take advantage of seeing some of the scenery around here. And we found there was a caricature right next to it we thought would be cool to get some pictures or something. And we went over to the tourist office this morning, and they actually explained to us that there's 7 different Tamarros. These characters are called Tamarros that protect the 7 different parishes all around Andorra from this evil troll that tries to make the place dirty and attack the different forest areas. So they've actually made an entire game for kids to come and find these Tamarros. And one of the things that you need to do is you come over and you need to offer a stone into the back of the Tamarro. And you also go over to this little portal and you can get your passport basically stamped so you can show that you've been to all 7 of them. Once you get all 7 of them, you can take it over to the tourist office and they give you some sort of gift. We found our first one just back over here by the cascade. Masana is the name of this area, but the name of the Tamarro is Masa. And so there's all these different ones that we're gonna go and check out. And it's one of those things that if you're over here in Andorra, gives you something extra to do, especially if you're over here with kids. And if you come by yourself, they even have a whole thing where you can take your own selfie. It actually gives you some really good pictures. So we've got 1 of 7 of the Tamarros found. Probably not gonna get to all of them on this trip, but it'll be something to, look forward to coming back to and checking out. Also just getting around and seeing different parts of this country. It's really incredible to see everything that we've been walking through right now. That water was extremely cold, but it's been a nice little thing, even though it is for kids. It's been a nice little additive to our trip here. And if you do only come up to Andorra for the day, you're gonna miss out on all of the nature that we're seeing right now. Only 8% of the country is urban center, with 92% being filled with all of these forests, trees, lakes, and just this incredible place to explore. Just check out these views. It's a completely different feel from the center of the city. I've been up to Andorra a bunch of times, but usually just staying around in that main city center. But you can see all around me why you need to get out here and spend a little bit more time. Those buses that take you in just one day from Barcelona aren't gonna allow you to do all of this. You're either gonna need a car or you're gonna have to come for a couple more days. We found number 2, Caldes, which is way up in the mountains. Really cool drive to get up here. Beautiful views all around. And you've got the little Tamarro just hiding there in between the trees. Gonna go find a stone so that we can put it inside of Caldes here. It doesn't look like we have too many options. One of the things they say is the shinier the stone, the better. And it'll keep the portal open so that they can always move around and get over and fight those evil trolls. Doesn't look like we have much of an option around here. Now we got to get our stamp, make it official that we've been over here and seen it. So we're on our way up to the Tamarro that is at San Julia, and it is way up here. Awesome views so far. We're really up high in those mountains. But I keep going back to the tourist office where the lady asked if we were going by foot or if we had a car. And I don't know how you could have done it if you were going by foot. So we're trying to find Andy, the Tamarrano, over here in Andorra La Vella. And we've gotten over to a sign that says, here's the way, but it doesn't really point to where we're going. And you'd think, even it says recommended for 6 and above. So it can't be that difficult. But a children's game, we're struggling with. We think we're getting closer, closing on in, seeing some signs, some different arrows. Other ones have had really, really obvious arrows for the most part. This one's been a little bit more difficult, but I think we're almost there. One of the cool things is that if you download Google Maps, you can have basically the terrain and a little bit more of some direction. And the problem is this one kind of is showing some different options to where this thing actually is. But remember, download those Google Maps if you don't want to use all of your data coming from the States, if you don't want to get charged for it. And then even me with a Spanish SIM card, I don't have free roaming over here. They're going to charge me something like €6 per megabyte used. I'm really surprised to find that the Canilo Tamarro is just right here. All we had to do was park in the parking lot, and it's right next door, overlooking the valley. It's really nice. So yesterday, while we were looking for the first Tamarro, we met a Spanish couple that told us they couldn't find Dino, the one that's over in Ordino. And they said it was covered because there was a fence with a bunch of different horses. We actually just got over here and there's an electric fence blocking the whole way. So we're not sure, because it says it's just on the other side, for you to go and check it out. So Matthew's done some reconnaissance and he's just on the other side. We jumped over the electric fence, walk across a little bit of a field, and he's right over there. You guys, Andorra is a really beautiful country, and I just don't know if you could do it in one day. We're getting up to the very last one. Pretty easy one to find as well. 7 for 7. And so that's all 7. I actually ended up finding all of them. What I thought was really cool was basically getting around, and we saw the entire country just by playing that little game. Saw a bunch of people that were looking for them as well. We got all of those stamps, and now we got to go back over to the tourist office because there's a prize if you found them all. Later, when we made our way back to the tourist information office, we were told that because the game was for kids, we couldn't collect a prize. While we did leave empty-handed, we didn't lack in experience. And while I might not recommend Andorra for just a quick day trip from Barcelona, it's definitely worth a longer stay. But if you're still looking for the best day trips from Barcelona, click on this playlist next to join me as we explore. It's stuff like this that you won't see if you're just taking a day trip from Barcelona over to Andorra, hitting up the capital, going back right afterwards. Getting out and seeing the entire country, which is something that you can do in just over a day, really worth it. We found out this lookout point just driving around.